Welcome back everybody to another fast flip. So this time we found ourselves a Series 1 Lotus Elise that's been sat in the garage for 10 years. And the aim is to do it up and make some money for our charity, the Birmingham Children's Hospital. But when we got it back and found that all 4 brakes are absolutely seized on solid, we got the bodywork, it's covered in scratches and stone chips. The convertible roof flies off when you hit 50 miles an hour. And then lastly, we've just found the head gasket's gone on the engine. So that's what we're going to get on with today. Let's get cracking. Right, head gasket time. If you saw the last video, you'll know that basically this is a Rover engine. It's a K-Series engine with a whopping 118 horsepower. It does go well though because the car's lightweight. It's a good match apart from it's got this proper naff head gasket on it. It is tight in there, proper compact. I've got to take loads of stuff out. And I can see 2 problems. Is one, I'm going to be working like this and my back, give it about 2 hours, going to be knackered. And the other thing, we've got to paint this rear clamshell. And I know it's sealed, but me taking stuff off, like when I pull the head off, if oil gets on this, it shouldn't sink into the fiberglass, but if it does, when we come to paint it, the paint's just going to go there, and it's just going to open up an old new bag of worms. So I think we're going to start with getting this back off. So let's crack on. Oh, another thing, I'll show you this roof. I did phone up John, the previous owner, because I was wondering what this clear piece was on the roof. And he says, because he used to drive with it always, oh, if I can get the poppers off, he used to drive with it always clipped on the back, with it tucked down the seats like this, and it was so he could still see out the back window. How mad is that? Right, let's unclip it, let's start stripping. So with this rear clamshell, I think we're just going to start at the front and work backwards. Looking at this rear screen, there's definitely something wrong with that. I don't think it should be that loose. But yeah, under that top, I can see 2 little clips, which just pop off nice and easy. And then that top lifts off. And under it, we've got this massive, chunky roll cage. That is huge. Definitely going to protect you well, that. Going into the back around the engine, we've got some Allen keys here, and then I can see, I don't know if that's an 8 or a 10 mil there. So let's whip them out. And with those screws removed, there's bound to be more in this boot area. Luckily, this inner boot cover just unclips and then pulls out. Some of it's held in by Velcro. The only thing I can see in there is the electrical connector for all the rear lights. So disconnect that and then move round to the back. Let's get this old number plate off and then the carrier cage behind it. And there we go. You can see a little 13 mil bolt. So let's get that out. And then moving around to the side, we've got the fuel cap. Let's unscrew that. Yeah, there's 4 little screws hiding behind there. And in the door, I can just see these 2 screws. And with all that out, it's still proper solid. Fair play, they built this thing well. The top is now loose. And the bottom, where it comes up to the sill, that's loose. But there's something in the middle here, unless it's bonded, hopefully not, that's still holding it in. So let's get it up in the air. Let's get the wheels off. Let's get them inner arch liners out and have a look inside. And then I can see it. It's all the way up there at the back. It actually looks like it comes from the inside out. So we'll have to have a look at that. There's also a couple here, and then the big plate that's underneath, and hopefully awesome. Still can't see anything. It hasn't taken that long really to get that back off. I'm hoping This panel's just a couple of Allen keys, and then we'll be able to see the whole back of the engine. One thing I have noticed that has probably devalued our Elise by about 50,000 quid is that Rover. If I was Lotus, I would have hid that with a nice little Lotus sticker, but I mean, Rovers weren't a bad car. They, you know, were what they were, cheap and cheerful, and got you from A to B. Yeah, that's much better. This cold air feed pipe has seen better days, so we'll have to get a new one of those. But yeah, let's start stripping this engine down. Let's go. So stripping the top half of this engine, I'm going to try and take off as much as possible around the head to make it a lot easier. So that air filter top comes off, and then we can pull out the bottom half of the air filter box with that knackered cold air feed pipe. And then to drain the coolant down, I'm going to take off all the coolant noses. I've found a lot of these Jubilee clips are loose for some reason, so I'll definitely have to go round every one of those to make sure they're not going to leak when we put this new head gasket on. Now the inlet manifold, I'm going to try and take off this whole piece as one big chunk and just lay it down here. And with these, they're real easy. There's a couple of 10mm bolts across the bottom here, and then I think 2 13mm either side. So there it is. Oh. Yeah, this is much easier with the back off. Can you imagine doing that with that big panel up here? That would have been impossible to, you know, get your arm down the back there and do all this. All right, let's carry on. So that's all the top stuff stripped off, ready, apart from the cam belt, which we got to do next. Now under here, I mean, the whole underneath of this Elise is one big sheet of aluminium. There's a little section that you can take off just so we can get to the engine to do servicing and stuff like that. And we can see up here, there is our crankshaft pulley. Right, I've got 22mm socket, and if I put that up there, which is difficult, we've only got 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, so there's no chance of getting a breaker bar in there either with that socket. So let's adjust one of our older sockets, and there we go, one short 22mm socket. Now I was super professional in taking this down nice and quickly with a grinder, but yeah, if we can get our old 22 and hold it alongside, look at that, that should fit perfectly. Right, let's put it on and get it in. Oh, it fits. Right, where is it? A proper flywheel locking tool, big screwdriver. That's going to go in up here. There we go. Right, let's see if it comes undone. Oh, it's tight. Yes. Right, I'm going to get this pulley off and get it back down. Awesome job. Last thing to do then, time this up, and then we can pop this head off. So these cam pulleys are identical. You can see here at the bottom it says in, that's inlet, and at the top it says exhaust. Now we know that the inlet manifold was this side, so this cam is going to be the inlet cam. So all we do, get a bit of timing mark, Tipp-Ex, and we're just going to put it like that, in line with the in, because that's the inlet. And then the exhaust one above where it says exhaust. And that's the marks we're going to go off. Right, let's turn this over until they line up. Just like that. And then, let's get that out of the way. Down here on the crankshaft pulley, it's really hard to see, but there's 2 dots and a little line on the block, and that's lined up as well. Right, let's undo that tensioner, pop that cam belt off, and then we'll get that upper rocker cover off and start undoing those head bolts. So the head bolts on these Rover K series engines always used to make me laugh. It's almost like, you know, when you say, oh, that bloke's got a big car because he's got a small, you know what, he's overcompensating. Now, it's the same, it's the same on this. Let me go and get a standard head bolt. There we go. So that is off, I think that's a Ford head bolt, which is that big. What's that, about 5 inches? Well, hey. And these ones, get this out. Are we ready? Oh, still going, still going. There we go. What a massive head bolt. You have to change them every time because they stretch when you do them up, and I have snapped one of these in the past and it wasn't fun at all getting it out. They must go all the way into the sump and like cramp the sump up and the head down. They're massive. Right, get all these long head bolts out, and then we're ready to get that head off at last. Right, let's have a look at this head gasket. You can see we were right with the camera down the back. It is the older style, real rubbishly designed head gasket with the orange bits of seal on them that always goes, and I'll show you. So it's cylinder 4. If we look in, the orange there, the seals, it's good, it's tight, it's still stuck to the head gasket. But then when we come across to cylinder 2 where it was leaking, we can see that one is definitely not happy. There's a big split in it and it can be moved all around. Yeah, that's not good. Even behind there, you can see that seal, that's lifting up there. So eventually that coolant would have just started hammering out down the back of the engine where the exhaust was. So yeah, definitely worth doing, which is good. These are wet liners. We can see with the head gasket off. Ooh, underneath looks all burned and not very good either. There's a bit of crud in there, but yeah, we'll just give it a clean. Right, let's go and have a look at the head. So the head, I mean, even though it's real dirty and covered in muck on the outside, in here where the oil is, in with the cams, that looks proper clean in there. That's done well for being sat for 10 years. Right, let's turn it round. And the other side, yeah, looks good. Oh, apart from, if you look at that, cylinder 3, where the water jacket is, and the cylinder 4. That blue tinge almost looks like antifreeze is coming out of that water jacket, and it was nearly going into those cylinders as well. So yeah, lucky we got it done. The new owner of this car is just not going to have any problem. We're going to get this uprated head gasket. Right, let's strip this head so it's ready to take to the machine shop to have it faced. Let's go. So my son's popped round for a few hours. Let's get him working. Before I get him to start stripping his head, I'm just going to go over the engine and try and teach him a few things really. Just explaining what 16 valves are and why the inlet valves are always bigger than the exhaust valves, stuff like that. Hopefully he'll take it in, we never know. When he works here, he always loves to use his own tools. I call them the show tools because, as you can see, they're absolutely spotless. I need to get him here more often to get them things dirty. So when they skim this head, they're going to put it in the fly cutter and it has to clamp either side so there can't be anything in the way. The coolant housing, where that loose coolant hose was, that's the first to come off, and then we can spin the head round. We've got to try and get these cam pulleys off. They are real tight, but there's a little kind of keyway where a 24mm spanner can go, and then with a couple of taps, they come loose. Once they're off, you can see those two pulleys are matching. The only difference is the inlet cam has a pin, and you can see it says in, so that lines up with that one. And then on the exhaust, the location pin lines up with the EX there on the pulley. So once those pulleys are both out of the way, there's that plastic rear timing cover thingamajiggy, and then we can flip the head round, start undoing the cam carrier. There are about 40 of them overall, and we're just going to undo them from the outside, going round inwards, and the cover just comes loose. Still looking in that cover, can't believe how clean it is. Luckily, I don't think any of that coolant has got in there with the oil. And then once those are out, I've got a little piece of paper. I'm going to mark cam bout end, and when he takes all these individual buckets out, he can just put them on the paper, and then when we're rebuilding it, we know which way they go back in. And there we go, one stripped cylinder head ready to be sent off. I've left the valves in. I'll lap them in and do the oil seals once it's all back. It's going to be a couple of days, so we've got to think of something to get on with. Probably the bodywork, I expect. It's going to be a big job, that is. I filmed it differently this time, a bit more in depth. Usually I'd go, right, I'll get the head off, see you in a minute, and then it cuts to the head being off. Just thought it's a bit fun to show more in depth than Rover here with its 1 meter head bolts. So let me know in the comments if you like this style, you know, and you want to see more of it. And yeah, I'll try my best to do it. So from me, as always, I'll see you on the next one. Ta-da!